Alrighty, how's it going, PBL fans? It's Jacob, the coach of the Snowpoint City Stantlers. Welcome to week 4 of the PBL. This week I'm playing against Evan, the coach of the Saffron City Sneasels, and we've kind of had like a mini rivalry going on for the whole time just because we consistently are really top scorers in the league. Anyway, without further ado, let's let this exciting battle begin, and we'll get into this pretty in-depth commentary. All the black screen loadings, and there we go. You can see Evan is on our screen. We are ready to rock and roll. Now, I led off with Empoleon. I kind of figured he would lead off Greninja to either U-turn or maybe go for Taunt based on my leads from the previous weeks. Despite thinking that he could go for Stealth Rocks, for Taunt, I went for Stealth Rocks anyway, just because even if he did Taunt, then I didn't really lose anything out of this because, whatever, it's just one turn, and if he does Taunt, it's not like Empoleon's taking damage anyway. So, as you can see, my Stealth Rocks fail. I do decide to just stay in and go for the knockoff. Either he was going to switch out using U-turn, so I would get the free knockoff on somebody else, or maybe just to scout the item that was on Greninja, because I had no idea whatsoever. Maybe some safety goggles? I honestly don't know. So he went out to Jirachi, and that was a pretty good swap for me, because as you can see, this knockoff does a pretty fat chunk of damage, and we also get rid of the leftovers, so that's pretty sweet, and tells us a little bit about the set. So at this point, I don't really think Jirachi has anything for me, so I decided to just stay in and stall out my taunt, so that way I can get my Stealth Rocks up, because punishing switches is nice. He does go for Wish here, so that kind of throws me off, and then I just kind of, use Scald. Again, I'm just stalling out the taunt turns. And I'm really just digging for a burn, that's what I really want. The taunt does wear off though, so I am going to go ahead and get my rocks up, as he shows off the fact that he has Thunder. Now, using it once is pretty cool. Obviously, that throws me for a little bit of a loop. I wasn't expecting that. I do get my Stealth Rocks up, though, so that is always good for me. And so what I kind of did here is I just stayed in and went for another one. I figured I would fish for a burn, just in case, just to put a timer on this Jirachi with the whole Wish thing. Also, to see what he was going to do. So he went for a second Thunder, which to me was a little bit of a red flag. It made me kind of think that this was a bait for Thundurus, because he knows that I have Volt Absorb on my team. So I went for the Scald here, didn't get the burn, he didn't get the Para either, so I suppose that's fine. And at this point I do know that I want to switch, because I want to save Empoleon for later, but I don't want to bring in Thundurus just in case. I do think he's going to use Wish here, so I just bring in Mew because it's free as far as I can tell. Even if he did go for Thunder, it's not like it would have been the end of the world. But he does go for Wish, and just sets up for if I scalded him that turn. So he's going to switch out because I could have literally anything on me, and, that's pretty scary. But I decided to go for U-turn this week, and as you can see, it does a little chunk of damage to Linguini, the Milotic, and we're able to switch out to something a little more effective at dealing with it. So again, Thundurus was the obvious choice here. But I decided to instead go into Smeargle because I'm faster than Milotic. So Master Roshi is just going to get off a Spore for free. There's not really anything he can do about it. All he can really do is choose the target. So he goes and brings out his Gligar Batata. I hope that's the pronunciation of that. But either way, I do get the Spore off, and we get Gligar to go to sleep. So that's really nice for us. Now, I think he said that he brought in Gligar expecting me to start sending up hazards. But this is actually a little bit of an interesting set for Smeargle. We go ahead and go for a mean look to trap this sleeping Gligar in. By the way, huge shout out to Sim from the Gabuman community for helping me come up with that Smeargle set. It was really fun to use. But then we do get the Perish Song off, so you can see that now Gligar is going to faint in 3 turns. Unfortunately, the sleep counter for this one was only 1, so he does wake up and get rid of my Stealth Rocks. I kind of expected them to go down at some point, that's why I wanted to save Empoleon anyway. But that being said, I decided to just go for Protect here. I just wanted to make sure that whatever he was going to do, like maybe Toxic or something, I wasn't sure. He does go for Earthquake. As you can see, that doesn't really work. And what I decided to do here was go for a Spore. He may have been faster, but based off the Gligar sets, I just didn't really see it. I figured I was faster with max speed, and I was, so I got the Spore off. So that was nice for me. Now, he did just use Earthquake, so my thought process here was switch out to Altaria. That way, I can either get my Mega up for free, or if he wakes up and goes for Earthquake, then we can get that as well. But unfortunately for us, his sleep counter was 1 again, so he goes for Earthquake. Luckily, Altaria is Flying type, like I was just saying, So sponges that pretty nicely, and down goes Gligar as a free kill. So Gardevoir comes out, and at this point I know that it's faster than me for a couple of reasons, which I'll get into in a minute. But I also knew that, you know, all of my Pokemon that I needed this week, Altaria was the one I needed the least at this point based on who was here. So I just figured, you know what, I'm going to Mega, just go for the return, and let's see what happens. If he's Choice Specs, it's going to kill for sure. If he's Choice Scarf, it's a roll. And as you can see here, Nimbus just barely pinching it out. And actually with 24 HP, I'm not sure how big of a roll it was. I'm honestly not sure. But we go for the Body Slam, or sorry, the return, and down goes Gardevoir. Now, and Evan in my chat, it said it was supposed to be a 50-50, but with 24 remaining HP, I'm not too sure. Either way, Ditto comes in, and I know it's Scarf, so obviously it's faster than me. It's going to take out the Altaria, you know, that's fine. But the Altaria is minimum speed, and that is to make sure that at +1, it is actually outsped by Smeargle regardless. So we do get to bring in Master Roshi again. He can come on in, and we can just pressure him with a Sport. So there's that. So I think he knows that that's coming, so he just goes ahead and swaps out into his Eraserhead Greninja. And at this point I was like, oh yeah, now that he knows that it's Perish Trap, he can just use U-turn to get out of it. You know what, that's fine, we're going to go for it anyway. Maybe we'll get a lucky, like, 3-turn sleep on Greninja or something like that. I think 3 turns is average anyway. Either way, so we get a free sleep on the first turn, and we go for a Mean Look here just to try to trap him in, you know, just to make sure that he has to use U-turn to get out. He can't just use a hard swap in case it's a long sleep. After that, we do go for the Perish Song, obviously, and we get the second sleep timer, so that is good. That means that it's longer than both of Gligar's sleep timers. Like, I'll take it at that point. So yeah, we do get that up. And then just in case he wakes up, I just went for Protect anyway. It would also protect me from Taunt, so, you know, like, why not? So we go for that. And as you can see, he does unfortunately wake up on turn 3, so it's only a 2-turn sleep again. Or 2-turn sleep, that's the longest one in the battle thus far. But that's okay. Now here, I didn't really know what he was gonna do, so I just went for a Protect again, just to see like what would happen. Unfortunately, I failed it. He did go for the Taunt, just to, you know, stop me from doing anything shady. I personally would have gone for damage, but that's just me. Either way, the Perish Song count falls to 1. I know he's gonna U-turn, I know he's gonna switch out, so I just bring out Prince Vegeta. I knew he was gonna take it the best, and I also knew that he could potentially bait out Jirachi and or Milotic, with which he could set up the rocks again. It wasn't a guarantee, but it was a gamble that I was willing to try, so that is what we went for. And as you can see, lucky the Jirachi comes back in. Now, I was totally cool with just like taking the gamble on Thunder missing because it hasn't missed thus far with the 70% accuracy. But instead, he decides that he wants a Wish. I'm assuming he needs Jirachi at full health to deal with Thundurus at this point, so that option was on my mind as well. But I do get my Stealth Rex up for free, so I'll absolutely take it. At this point with Gligar down, I knew that Empoleon's job was done. He got his rocks up, he knocked off at least one item, so you know what, we got more than we, you know, banged for. But Evan goes for Future Sight, and with that, we're not too scared because we do have Mew, and I believe with Future Sight it goes off the special defense of my Pokemon at the time of casting, which Empoleon has huge special defense anyway, so, you know, that's fine. I do go for a Scald, trying to fish for a burn just in case we don't get it, so that's not very fortunate for me. And Lucky lands another Thunder, which is sad for me, but good for Lucky, and down goes Prince Vegeta. Hopefully he'll get a better showing in another match. Either way, his hazards were very important. I do bring in Mew, and now this one was kind of funny. I kind of did a scum move and took the whole time on the timer to make this switch, so it looked like I didn't really need to do it, or didn't want to do it. To try to bait the Jirachi to stay in. But instead, he does do the scum raid, and he moves out. So unfortunately, my Z Earthquake is going to be going onto my Lodic here. Now that's not the best thing in the world for me, because the Jirachi should, unless it was like a very, very, very defensive set, should have dropped to this, but, you know, whatever, that's fine. My Lodic being pressured out by this also helps me a ton, because it kind of puts my Lodic in a tough spot where it's at some pretty low HP. So basically here, I've got this in a weird spot where I can go for U-turn, and basically if he stays in, I can bring in Manaphy, and if he switches out, I can just bring in a decent counter. However, based off that damage, I thought that my EQ probably actually would have killed, so maybe I should have stayed in and gone for that. I'm not sure. Either way, Manaphy comes in on the recover. And, you know, for me, I thought that I had him in a really good spot here because I was like, okay, either you're going to stay in and you're going to take an energy ball from me, which means I'm just going to get 2 off on you, or you're going to switch out to somebody and then I'm going to get a free hit on them, or potentially a tail glow. But unfortunately, Evan actually prepared for that, and he did actually bring Dragon Tail, so he went ahead and phased me out, bumped me right out of the battlefield, as you can see. And in comes in Master Roshi, the Smeargle. That was probably one of the worst options of who he could bring in, because it is faster than him, so it just kind of immediately threatens the Spore. But, you know, it is what it is. He goes ahead and switches out to his Greninja. Again, just trying to run through that whole gambit of, you know, Perish Song, I can U-turn out, so it's kind of whatever. But I do go for the Spore here, and as you can see, he falls asleep. And hopefully we can get a longer sleep counter this time. It's only been 1 or 2 turns thus far every time. I did want to change the script up, though, you know, just kind of keep him guessing, and I did go into Manaphy here. I figured that with the chip damage, an energy ball would be imminent, and that we could do some fat damage with it. So that was basically my goal here. It was like, hey, you can't really switch out to somebody else to take this because, you know, you can't take too many of these in general with your remaining team. So I do go for this energy ball. He decided to stay in. I think he meant to just sack it there, but it ended up living on like 2 HP or however many that is. It looks more like 5 or 10. But either way, he does survive, which kind of throws me for a loop, and also kind of like freaks me out about it, but it's whatever. He does switch out, and he goes into Lucky. Now, I kind of expected him to either switch out or maybe stay in, hopefully stay asleep, but either way, I went ahead and switched out to Mew at the same time. I just wanted to keep Manaphy healthy, to be honest. And I went for the Earthquake. I didn't know if he was going to stay in or if he was going to switch, but I just went for EQ to find out. So I just went ahead and dropped that down. And as you can see, he goes for the Wish here, likely setting up to switch. I don't know if he was trying to heal himself up or what, but I just went for U-turn just in case. You know, he might have gone for Thunder or something like that, but instead he switches out to Handmaiden the Ditto. And at this point, my kind of green light just kind of like snapped on. And basically it was Handmaiden was turning into Mew, which means that it can't turn into Thundurus, which means nobody on his team can absorb my Thunderbolts. So it's time to switch out to Thundurus. At least that was my plan. So I did mess up in the calcs a little bit, and I initially had it planned out where Thundurus could come in on a transformed Mew and take it out with a Dark Pulse, which is exactly what I wanted to do. But instead, I calced it wrong because I forgot that Ditto's hit points don't change. So the Dark Pulse ends up not taking him out, and he ends up surviving on very low HP, but it wasn't even a roll. He was supposed to survive that. Now here, I know that he's locked into Ice Punch. It was his only option against Thundurus, so that was another reason to bring him in. So that way I could just hard swap back out to Mew just in case, and I know that there's no way that this Mew is going to pressure me with Ice Punch. So he can outspeed me for days, he can go for Ice Punches. If he gets a freeze, that would be really unfortunate. Luckily he didn't get it, and I just go for the Earthquake, and down goes the Mew, which is super nice for me. And at this point, we have a Greninja that's dead on arrival as soon as it comes in from the party thanks to the Stealth Rocks. We have this Linguini who is low, but he can use Recover, so that's a little bit of a frustration for me. But, you know, it is what it is. So I just did a hard swap here, and I just went right back into King Kai. I don't really know why I didn't use U-turn there, but either way, he does go for the Recover and just get some of his HP back. And now here, I don't know. It was a weird play because I knew he had Dragon Tail, but at the same time, what did I stand to lose by using Tail Glow here? Because if he switched me out, it still brought me into somebody that was likely able to take care of it. So, I don't know. I was just going to press it anyway and just see what happened. But he decided to switch out into Eraserhead, use that as a death fodder to get a free switch into Jirachi. Not the best play with the Tail Glow coming in. I know the Tail Glow kind of seemed like an inoptimal move there, but, you know, that's fine. In comes the Milotic, and at this point, I'm at +3 special attack, so it's going to be a pretty smooth sailing battle from here. All we're going to do is go for a quick little energy ball. As you can see, that takes him down because it's super effective from a +3 Manaphy. And the Jirachi already has extreme amounts of chip damage on it. As you can see, it's less than half, which is a pretty good amount to me. And the Scald is going to be able to easily take it out from there. So good game to Evan as we rise up to being 4-0 at the start of the season. Now that was a very interesting battle. Did I play it the best I could have? Probably not. There were definitely some moves in there that I could have done better to, just kind of like maximize my amount of time on the field and, just kind of make some things happen in different ways. Looking back, I probably would have changed my team a little bit. I did a little too much prep for Charizard X, I think, and then it just didn't end up showing up, so that was unfortunate. But that's fine with me. We got the W. That's what really counts. The Smeargle set was really cool and creative, and definitely made the battle like a 5v6. So like that was also a very defining moment. That and the hazards from Empoleon, they're kind of like the unwritten MVPs of the battle for what they did. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Next week we play against Raul. I don't know if I'm the home team or away team, unfortunately, but you'll get to see the battle then. So hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching.